The Pout Pout Fish and the Can't Sleep Blues by Deborah Deason and pictures by Dan Hanna. Late one quiet evening in the inky ocean deep, Mr. Fish blubbed, "Oh, I can't get to sleep." His mind was fizzy busy, and his fins were full of vim. Though he wanted to be dozing, there were 0 Z's for him. I can't drop into dreamland, I can't slide into snooze. I'm wide awake, it's hard to take the can't sleep blues. A sleepy voice spoke softly. "Need some tips?" inquired Miss Clam. "Just watch and see, and soon you'll be as drowsy as I am." Smooth your seaweed bedding, then imagine fluffy sheep. Count them 1 to 20, and then presto, fall asleep. Mr. Fish took the advice, but he couldn't catch a snooze. "Miss Clam, I need more help," Miss Clam replied. She was already sleeping. Then a sleepy voice spoke softly. "Here's an even better fix. You will love," said Mr. Crab, "all my get-to-sleep quick tricks." Just put on purple PJs and 5 or 6 orange socks, then soothe your busy thinking on a pillow made of rocks. Mr. Fish took the advice, but he couldn't catch a snooze. "Mr. Crab, what now?" Mr. Crab replied. Mr. Crab's asleep too. Then a sleepy voice spoke softly. "Here's what I would suggest. Guaranteed," said Mr. Eel, "to yield a pleasant night's rest." First ripple to the left, then ripple to the right. Next swirl in a circle. Swoosh, swoosh. Nighty night. Mr. Fish took the advice, but he couldn't catch a snooze. "Mr. Eel, what's the deal?" Mr. Eel replied. "What do you think? What do you think?" "Yep. Sleepy, sleepy." Then a sleepy voice spoke softly. "For your slumber in the sea, here's a plan," said Mrs. Squid, "that always does the trick for me. Just widen out your eyes and give 4 quick tiny blinks, then slowly close your lids, automatic 40 winks." Mr. Fish took the advice, but he couldn't catch a snooze. "Mrs. Squid, more ideas?" Mrs. Squid replied. "What do you think? What do you think? How do you think she replied?" Then Mr. Fish heard nothing, just a symphony of snore. He still couldn't sleep. He felt worse than before. "I took all of their suggestions, which I followed to a T. Their methods worked for them, but they did not work for me. I don't know what to do." He sank down in the kelp. "What good is good advice? It does not always help." Then a sparkly voice emerged. "Mr. Fish, you're partly right." The voice was dear Miss Shimmers. Her smile was kind and bright. "But take what you've been given and learn from what you've tried, then build your own solution. Trust yourself as a guide." You can't always do what other people do. "The best advice of all," said Miss Shimmer to her friend, "is to learn what works for you and make your own special blend." With that, she said good night and departed from the scene. Now Mr. Fish was ready to create his own routine. "I'll settle in my spot I'll smooth my seaweed bed, I'll smooch my snoozy snugly, then I'll clear my busy head. I'll swoosh in gentle motion in the ocean wide and deep. I'll close my eyes, fins tucked in, and drift right off to sleep. Mr. Fish had tried his best to resolve his can't sleep blues. Mr. Fish, how'd it go? Mr. Fish replied, finally fell asleep with his own technique. The end.